logical Black Americans that are actually aware of their history, saying no, like the real bad guys are. You guys wonder, well, why is it so important for them to distract us and take all of our energy? Because we are essentially creating, politely ask for this to shame the devil. It's not respectability politics up to the devil. It's from Biden to Kamala to Trump. They all have accusations of being So welcome back to my YouTube channel, Jael and the Matrix, where we talk about things that are just not necessarily talked about in society. It's like you speak on certain subjects, but they're only real when you're in the Matrix. You zoom out of the Matrix and none of this shit exists. It's not real. What do I mean by that? What is this crazy girl talking about? Please subscribe to my channel, because this is going to be a theme that is going to be woken up year after year after year as we navigate to the age of Aquarius. Everything that is shown to us or appears to be a certain way is not necessarily that way. So this particular video, we're going to be talking about the shift from 3D to 4D. What does that mean? What does that entail? And also just politics and other facets of the government are just complete illusion. Some of you probably wonder, to what extent is politics an illusion? Somebody asked me the other day, I said I got into an argument with one of my family members about politics, something that I don't want to do anymore because politics is fake and it just will have you very emotional on something that is an illusion. And someone was like, oh, well, if it's fake, then why are you arguing with your family member about it? That's actually a great question. And this is another reason why I'm making this video today. Some of you have also probably heard of 3D to 4D. Essentially, in layman's terms, 3D are the things that we see with our eyes. You know, the way that things appear to be, right? Politics, maybe how a certain circumstance looks, you know, certain institutions, certain initiatives. Just because things appear to be a certain way on the surface, you know, what we can see with our visible eye, that does not mean that that is really how things are, versus our 4D, right? Our imagination, our ability to have that like intuition, these things that you feel and you kind of have like that inner knowing deep down, but you can't really place your finger on it. These feelings are essentially more real than the 3D. Now, what does that mean? It means that your consciousness and subconsciousness controls a lot of your life. For example, if you're constantly having a lack mindset when it comes to money, like if you just feel that money constantly is fleeting you, or even if you sit there and say, money, money, money on my mind, it is more likely that you are going to create circumstances for yourself where money is nowhere in the equation, because you're essentially sending out that signal that you are not abundant. So that's kind of how 3D to 4D works, is like your subconscious thoughts are essentially controlling your life and what you eventually see in the 3D. This is why you're noticing a lot of people talking more about manifestation. You're noticing a lot of younger people, especially like focusing on manifestation. They don't want to get jobs. They don't want to work harder. They want to work smarter. We're just going to talk about how, you know, this is going to be a constant theme. We're going to touch on the subject of how it's going to be a constant theme in the next years as we approach Age of Aquarius. All the illusions are starting to be seen. For example, politics. First off, my intention with this video is hopefully to get more people to kind of come together. I think that the two-party system is doing its job right now as far as distracting us from the bigger picture and the things that we need to see as a society. So we're just going to get right into it. What does it mean when we say that politics is an illusion? Like, how can it be an illusion? We've talked about these things for years. What does that even mean? So first off, red and blue do represent certain things. And I'm going to put my Spotify link of my podcast where I used to be heavily involved in politics below, so that you guys can kind of have a review on, you know, what I was saying about politics even before and how consistent this has been. Essentially, red represents something and blue represents something. You know that by how the blue states have a little bit more restrictions, you know, more restrictions and certain rules, and the red states are more free. So you know by that example example alone that politics does have things that are representative of the both sides. But you put red and blue together, and what color does that make? It makes purple. A lot of you guys don't understand this, but symbols, signs, colors, all of these things are what these people use to communicate with each other. Purple essentially equals deception. So right there, they're showing us that politics is a big illusion. It's a big deception. What is the point of them, creating politics to create the deception? Is to divide and conquer. Some of you throw around this term often. It's called world's a stage, but I don't think you know maybe what that exactly entails. So when it comes to politics, for instance, Kamala and Biden, right, were Black Americans' enemy essentially, down to the policies, okay? This is what kind of separated people from emotional to more logical, because you have one group of people that's looking at Trump, calling him racist based on how he talks to people, right? And like the surface level things that he's doing to Black people. But then you have Black Americans, right? Logical Black Americans that are actually aware of their history, saying no, like the real bad guys are the people that were racist down to the actual policies, the systematic racism that these people implemented on our culture. Okay, so for a while I have been banging the reparations drum. Went to an HBCU, was not very many awake Black Americans. So at one point I was doing this by myself. Side note, there has been many times where I was in situations by myself, speaking truth to power. Nobody was around believing me, all called me crazy. And then the pattern just continues over and over and over. Such is life when you are an Aquarius. People just treat you like you're so crazy until they end up kind of getting what you say, and then they'll just not be mad. That is my life. Side note. So essentially you just have two sides, right? You have people arguing things about both sides that, are true from their standpoint. But y'all, the deeper thing that a lot of you guys are missing, when Trump announced that he was a Freemason, I think it was the end of 2022, 2023, that's when we all should have packed our bags, okay, and walked out. Now, why is that? Because it means that the narrative, right, the story, as again, the world's a stage. This was a story that they were acting out in front of us, okay? Trump was never the outsider. He came in, he started talking about, the pedo stuff. Essentially, a lot of information came out of them all exposing each other, from Biden to Kamala to Trump. They all have accusations of being pedos. Now, this is where divide and conquer comes in. This is where controlled opposition, as far as them acting like, oh, well, we're on this side and we're on this side and we're both opposing sides. No, they're in this together. Do you guys not realize that while they're sitting here accusing each other of this, accusing each other of that, that is just essentially their tactic to absolve themselves from karma? Because now they're all admitting to us, the public, that they're all involved in this child weird shit, excuse my French, weird stuff, right? They're essentially all involved in this weird, I don't know how much I can say on YouTube, but they're all essentially involved in this, just weird stuff when it comes to children, right? They all have these paper trails. There's been no arrests. There's no arrest of Epstein, the people on Epstein's island. There's no arrest of all the names that were thrown out. Well, we're against these people, but we're going to show you what they're really doing so that you can accept it and go on with life, not even essentially asking for these people to be punished. We're all falling into it. We're all bamboozled. We've all been hoodwinked. Even within the illusion of politics, where we are arguing very substantial points, very substantial things, we're failing to realize that these people are all a part of the same entity. There is no separation. There is no Biden versus Kamala. You know what I really mentally checked out? They did the fake hot sauce on Trump's face. It didn't even look like ketchup. It wasn't even fake blood. You couldn't even add that into the budget of this world's a stage movie. Like, I genuinely all felt like, okay, they know the society is dumbed down because they're not even trying to fake it as much. Like, they're not even trying to pull out the big illusions anymore. That shit was so fake. And what really disturbed me was after that happened, people weren't on social media saying, oh, that was fake. They were like, Trump's assassination. You guys really believe that Trump got shot and went, yeah, like, it was so fake. I felt nothing that day. I haven't really tuned into politics in so long, y'all, because I felt absolutely nothing. My mind, my intuition tells me that all the shit is just fake. It's becoming just so hard to even argue the illusion that is politics, because the powers that be understand the 3D to 4D shift. So this is where it gets interesting. You guys wonder, well, why is it so important for them to distract us and take all of our energy? Because we are essentially creating their world. We are the people in power. We are the people with the power. We have millions of us, and it's a very tiny amount of them. And how do they even manage to control all of us? The illusions, the distractions, oh, you're on this side, I'm on this side. But you zoom out of the matrix, y'all, and none of it is real. That's why I named this Jael in the Matrix, because when I have certain conversations, I literally have to be in the matrix mindset to even discuss it anymore. And I'm not gonna lie, when I am, in my 3D, more low vibrational state, then yes, I will inform a person on politics. Next, we are going to talk about the institutions. So when it comes to a lot of these reparations task forces and these, meetings on reparations and these reparations initiatives, let's break it down. If you would have said that HR 40 was a mockery at the time, they would have laughed at you. They would have bashed you. If you would have said that SP 15 was a mockery at the time, spell check, forget what it's called, don't really care, because it was another mockery. People would have called you crazy at the time for saying that. California Reparations Task Force, that was looking a little shaky, but if you would have said that, you would have got laughed out of rooms and people said, oh, you're just that ended up being a mockery, bro. So this is my thing when it comes to politics. I'm always reparations. I'm a Black American. That is something I've been advocating for since 2015, right? Same person that I'm telling, hey, these task forces and these reparations places are mocking us, and they want to go into spaces and berate the next Black American. I said, if y'all went into some of these task forces and reparations meeting with that same energy, we probably would get farther. But a lot of people want to go up in there with good faith, thinking that these people are not mocking us. I am a Black American and they know what we deserve. They're not stupid. They're not dumb. They know more of our history than us, which actually makes them, and I'm going to just go ahead and say this, the same people that y'all call racist, white supremacists, all these things, right? Those are the people that you essentially expect them to give us reparations. Do that in the midst of them mocking us, giving the reparations to Ukraine, okay? Kamala saying that she washed her greens in a bathtub, that was a mockery. Joe Biden saying that he gave reparations to Native Americans, that was a mockery. That's them showing us, hey, you N-word with a strong yard, we see what you want, we know who you are. Now, mind you, that doesn't mean that advocating for reparations is a lost cause. No, it's not. Because on a spiritual level, on a 4D level, what do? You call out the truth to shame the devil. It's not politely ask for this to shame the devil. It's not respectability politics up to the devil. It's tell the truth, shame the devil. So in my opinion, the thing that I think is missing, because I have to give people credit, they did start to go in and demand at these reparations facilities after I said this. So I know that people are listening. I know that they get what I'm saying. But what I feel is missing is that we don't go straight into these reparations and these task forces and we don't say, hey, you guys are mocking us. This is a mockery. You guys are not trying to do this study right now. You guys haven't been for a while, because if you were, we would have been gotten the money. There's not enough people willing to say what it is. No, we have people saying, and bless y'all's heart, not everybody means it in a bad way, but we're closer to reparations than ever. Now, you could say that as Black Americans, we're closer to abundance than ever. I believe that. I feel that. I believe that. But as far as reparations from the US government that is actively mocking us, guys, it's going to be a few elders that's going to be sent into a stroke if they don't get reparations in the next 5 years. Okay? That's where I come in, to bring a little reason. And y'all can be mad at me for this. A lot of times, because of cognitive dissonance, I'm a Black American that's been advocating for reparations longer than some of these new faces that you see. And they will sit there and say, tether and da-da-da, because why? Because I'm commenting on the same people that y'all call racist, white supremacists, that y'all are depending on a check from. I'm going to advocate regardless, because that is something that we are owed by the US government. But y'all, it was for the rebellion of it all. I'm an Aquarius. I love knowing that these people know that we're on to them. That was never equivalent to me thinking or depending on these people to give me a check in the next couple of weeks. I still had to grind. I still had to work. I still had to do my thing. While some of you think that the only doing the work is showing up to these reparations task forces, where some of you, I'm going to be honest, are getting energy siphon. Okay. They do rituals. You guys think that it's not deeper than the start. It is. Okay. Because we're very powerful people. They need our energy. Same way that they use our likeness every election year. You see a police brutality case. Who is it? It's a another Black American, Sonia Massey. Now, notably, and you guys are going to say, oh, what does this have to do with anything? These are two Aquarius women. Now, this could have been a symbolization of Age of Aquarius. Do you know that Sandra Bland was on her YouTube talking about, can anybody guess? Metaphysics and how we were going to have to come together. So I think it's a mixture of, they do sacrifices, they tag chosen people and they put it on the world screen, but essentially they're only showing Black Americans. Do you guys know that I went down a rabbit hole? I saw a whole bunch of different races getting brutalized by police, y'all. And this happened back like 2020, 2021, when the internet was just, crazy, desensitized. I saw a bunch of races and I start to say, I've never seen this. I even saw an Indian person, y'all. I said, the math isn't mathing. Why do we never see this anytime on the news? Why do we never see this in elections? It occurred to me, this is another instance of showing us that Black Americans have to be very powerful, because it's only our likeness that they use year after year after year to get our energy. They're not showing other races. They're not energy siphoning them. They're energy siphoning us. Why do they do it? Ultimately is because, again, they understand 3D to 4D. In my opinion, they're saying to themselves to focus less on doing the inner work, which we'll get into what exactly that is on this channel. I hate when people just throw out things and don't explain what it is, but the inner work for now. Genuinely pouring into yourself during this time. Genuinely thinking positive thoughts during this time, because you're gonna need it. It's the thoughts that you're thinking now that is going to take you where you want to be a year or two from now. And I'll explain to you how I know that. Because I'm getting to the point now where it's like, I know that I have a purpose, right? To get people to understand certain things. I don't know what your purpose is. I don't know what her purpose is. I don't know what his purpose is, but I'm going to have to be a little bit more bold in the way that might make people uncomfortable, because a lot of you are just not ready to wake up from the illusion, which is fine. Some of us are. And I will also say this, because this is another warm and fuzzy that I kind of want to give to people. The people that you are starting to separate from, the people that you're starting to naturally gravitate away from, it's mindset and frequency that ultimately separate us. It's not any of these 3D things, right? Like, oh, that person didn't like me, the gossip, the masculinity, the femininity. As your mind changes, your world changes. And unfortunately, you are being taken away right now from the people that just do not resonate with you on a 4D level. And you're starting to see that reflect in your 3D. So before you get so down on yourself and you say, I'm losing these friends, I'm losing baby, that 4D reality shift is happening. And you have to let it. And you have to be willing to let go of the illusions, which might hurt a little bit because you're used to them. We're used to a lot of these things you guys want to talk so much about. Let the old world die. Well, we have to be willing to let our illusions, to some extent, gave us a comfort, okay? Gave us a false sense of having an option, because that's all the election is. It's controlled opposition. It's a false sense of having control in the society. We're taxed on the tax on the tax. And then we go to grocery stores, we pay more taxes. And then at the end of the year, they ask for more taxes. Taxes are unconstitutional. We don't talk about that. I want to talk about things like both of these people, both sides, Republicans and Democrats, okay, Trump, Biden, Kamala, Tim, they all sat together to plan a lot of our families from the jab. A lot of our family is, okay, I know I can't say it on YouTube. Why are we talking about that? Because they all did it. They all did it. Every single one of them. That's why they use controlled opposition, so that we don't talk about things like they all did it. Oh, and this is like the last thing, and I do want to end it off here. Please, those of you that talk so much about racism and white supremacy, just understand that those people that you constantly talk about, they have something called an agenda. NWO, New World Order, okay? Why is this important? What does this mean? While you guys are arguing, right, blue side and red side, you guys are arguing like this. Imagine right behind you, there's like a Godzilla, and I'm looking at the people and I'm like, guy, we got bigger problems. Look behind you. While you guys are arguing, red, blue, Biden, there's a Godzilla behind you. What does the Godzilla represent? New World Order. Okay, that's why our police is becoming militarized. New World Order is their next plan. I'm not saying this to spread fear and everyone. No, I'm saying this so that we can get a grasp on reality and realize that we have a lot more power in numbers, which is why they want to keep us consistently divided and distracted. Okay, it's not wrong to talk about racism, white supremacy, but I don't have the luxury as somebody that understands metaphysics. If I affirm racism every single day, I will run into a racist everywhere that I go because I know how that works, and I don't want to see race. I don't want to get in physical altercations, so I try to not focus on what I don't want to see in my life. That's all. I don't say people are wrong for doing it. I don't say people, people are going to do what they do, but me, I don't have the luxury to see a racist white supremacist every day of my life, so I don't talk about them. You get it? I focus more of my concerted efforts on how can I get past this? How can I get over this and be better than these people that hate me? I don't care about people that dislike me. That's why I didn't care that, Trump's talking. Did he make any policies that are this? Now, again, I'm back in the matrix, because when you zoom out of the matrix, they're all together. They're all in this new world order thing together. Mind you, all of our government leaders right now are sitting around in some round table trying to create a one world government, which is going to be consistent of a global currency. So all those Black Americans that were saying, hey guys, like the dollar is devaluing and we're shifting currency, and people would say, oh, you just don't want us to get cash reparation. Well, it turns out they weren't saying that at all. They're not trying to change anything about the cash reparation. They're just essentially saying that, hey guys, we're moving into a global currency. The dollar is done. So yeah, I hope that answered a lot of questions. Really want to see what questions you all will have about this video, and if I have to make a part 2, I definitely will do that. I know that I was kind of all over the place, but it just is so important for people to understand what is happening in the world right now. You might be feeling strange. You might be feeling like, hey, I'm not really resonating with a lot of this stuff. Like, politics is seeming a bit more fake than usual. The world is just feeling a bit more strange. It's because part of you, even on a subconscious level, knows that something doesn't feel right, and it's shifting you from that 3D to 4D mindset. You don't want to just get by anymore. You want to be abundant. You don't want to just sit around people that don't like you anymore. When you know they don't like you, you want to find your true tribe. So guess what, Buttercup? Doesn't happen by you just popping up and everything's around you. No, some things have to fall away. The illusions fall away, and trust the process of that. It's not always fun. It's not always the best time, but it's something that has to happen for your ascension. Just know that you are not alone if you are feeling weird, or if you are noticing that the things that you used to feel like were just so real are not anymore. It's okay to let the old things fall away. 3D to 4D, and it's a global shift in consciousness. If you like this video and you want to hear more about, uncovering these illusions, Jael in the Matrix, this is in the Matrix conversation, and we're going to zoom out and we're going to talk about how things are just not real. If you guys like what I talk about, please hit the like button. Please subscribe, because this is just something that you guys are going to definitely need to be aware of in these times.